All right, we've hit the All-Star break, and it is Figgie and the Moose on this Monday. Hopefully, everyone out there had themselves a wonderful weekend. Good morning, Figgie. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great, brother. What was the name of that track again? Our intro track?
Oh, New York Subway or something like that?
Something like that, right? I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah.
Like it.
There you
Catchy
go.
tune.
Yeah. So you have a good weekend.
Yeah, had a great weekend. Got to watch some baseball, played a little golf, the usual.
Nice, very good. Hopefully, you knocked them straight. And we're at the All-Star break. The Yankees, both teams coming off Sunday losses. The Yankees to the Cubs. The Mets out in Kansas City couldn't finish off the sweep of the Royals. We got our first look at Sean Manaea as well. Let's start with the Mets and your assessment of the team at the break, Figgy.
Again, I think there's room for improvement as far as the consistency and not playing down to the level of your competition, right? Continuing to not keep everybody on pins and needles to the seventh, eighth, and ninth innings. But those things usually will breed character of guys understanding what the assignment is, how to get the job done, and everybody kind of pulling on the rope at the same time. The bottom of the lineup continues to have to show and be better. We actually see Francisco Alvarez is down in the minor leagues with 8 home runs in 13 games. Seems like he's found his power stroke again. So good to see him probably back up in the second half after the break. Vientos looks like he woke up a little bit during this series, and that's a great sign for the Mets. Soto struggled a little bit getting into the All-Star break. Wasn't named an All-Star, as we said, a showcase of all the wonderful talent in the MLB, and he wasn't one of the guys chosen. All in all, I think the Mets are trending upwards with having Senga and Manaea. Manaea looks fantastic. I mean, I get it. He lost the game on a base hit, a stolen base, and then another base hit. But I mean, what was it? 8 strikeouts. Just looked masterful in command of his stuff for his first outing at the big league level this year. Hopefully, a sign of what's to come with that big sweeper fastball combination. Just looked like he was in total control. Let's see how he bounces back for the beginning of the second half.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think the most exciting thing to me, outside the rotation getting healthier, Montas, Manaea, Senga, Peterson, and obviously you saw Clay Holmes get the start yesterday out in Kansas City. So what you kind of envisioned this starting rotation was going to look like is kind of what you've gotten right now. And that's a sign of good things. And you look at Vientos, was good in the Baltimore series, good in the Kansas City series. The break comes at the worst possible time for him because it's been a really kind of a lost season. So Vientos would love to keep on playing baseball games here moving forward because he's starting to look like, not necessarily with the power, as in really homered. I mean, a couple doubles, having multi-hit games, stuff like that you're seeing from Vientos, the offensive star that he was last year for the New York Mets. I think that's, to me, a pivotal talking point for the second half, because if he can find it, all of a sudden that big 4 for the New York Mets that we've talked about of Nimmo, Lindor, Alonso, and Soto, now all of a sudden you extend it to 5. When we talk about then you throw in potential with McNeil, you're down to 6. Then it's obviously 7, 8, 9. Mets need to find themselves an everyday center fielder. I mean, that's one thing they need to find. All due respect to Tyrone Taylor, wonderful defensive player, and I think he's a major leaguer. It's not that. It's just that he's not an everyday player because he doesn't hit. I mean, so it's hard to go out there and have a guy in the lineup that's just all defense, unless he's a catcher and is tremendous at framing pitches and handling his staff and stealing strikes and all the things that we've seen over the years from defensive-minded catchers. I don't know if you necessarily can carry an all defense center field and expect to go deep into October and make it to the World Series. I think he'd be a wonderful guy, a spot start here or there, defensive replacement late in game when you have a 1-run lead, because he can go out there and go gap to gap. But that's one thing that I think the Mets do need. But I think Vientos and the starting rotation getting healthier, 2 big keys to feel good about with the Mets for the Met fan as we get set to watch the home run derby tonight.
Yeah, if I was Vientos, I'd find a couple of men's leagues to get some reps in during the break. Just don't put the bat down right now. It looks like he's found his stroke, hitting the ball to right field with authority, staying on some breaking pitches because that's been his Achilles heel all season long. So, and I'm excited for Alvarez. I watched his at bats. I watched the stance, go back to the old stance with the bat on his shoulder and just lifting up his heel on his setup and being able to get it down on 97-mile-an-hour fastballs and drive them out to the big part of the ballpark. So that could be a huge plus as well. Because again, like you talked about, McNeil's a sixth guy, and then a seventh guy being a guy like Alvarez, where you're talking about a guy who can leave the yard. And I just keep going back to the flair for the dramatic, where he would step up in these big moments and hit these big home runs, see the tie a game or go ahead kind of thing. Like that's the swagger that this kid has always carried, and he hasn't been able to, be that guy all the time because he struggled so mightily. When you're losing playing time and you're playing, 2 days a week compared to Torrens, who wasn't even a part of the original plan just a year and a half ago. I'm sure it bites at the ego left, right, and center. Bullpen pieces, Brazoban you talk about anybody who needs the All-Star break? Brazoban needs the All-Star break, right? The Mets, how many Tommy Johns is this now, listed for the season? I love the pitching lab, don't get me wrong, but do you see a pattern here with these relievers who are pitching so much from April to June? And the amount of Tommy Johns in the last 2 years, it's alarming to see how many Tommy Johns and guys that are out with elbow injuries and then having a second one. Brooks Raley is also on the mend coming back. So that'll be a key lefty to come back in. So things, like I said, things are trending up in Mets land. They're, was it a half game back? After all the ups and downs and everything else, they're only a half game back. And, I think the All-Star break, for some people is going to be coming at the right time. Let's see if Vientos can keep the momentum. But I think all in all, that I'm excited for the rest of July.
Yeah, it should be a good second half for the Mets. And you mentioned where they sit, second place team, a half game behind the Phillies after Sanchez was brilliant yesterday out in San Diego. Got a little late inning magic from JT Realmuto, and they finally knocked off the Padres, a Philadelphia team that had scuffled, dropping 4 of their previous 5 games. As far as the Yankees are concerned, they're also a second place team, trailing the Blue Jays by 2 games in the American League East. And after the power display that we saw Friday night against the Chicago Cubs and the Cody Bellinger 3 home runs, it was a lost weekend for the Yankees against the Chicago Cubs, losing on Saturday afternoon and then losing early yesterday afternoon. Imanaga was fantastic for the Chicago Cubs. You look at Will Warren, did a nice job, but still, Ian Hamilton comes in, gives up a home run. We've seen the struggles of Jonathan Loaisiga. We've also seen the struggles of Anthony Volpe at shortstop for the New York Yankees. And I've talked about here, we've talked about many a times. The Yankees are always the last to know. I mean, Cashman can talk about this great belief in Volpe, and we could talk about the expectations coming into his professional career and what he is. I've always maintained, listen, he's been good defensively. He has been, not this year, but historically. Mm-hmm. He has been good. I don't think he has a shortstop's arm, not a major league shortstop's arm. I think he'd probably be a little bit better defensively if he was at second base than he was at shortstop. I think the best, people within the organization believe the best shortstop that they have is Peraza. That major, he's got a shortstop's arm. It's like, here's what you like when you watch an arm and in Major League Baseball, like you watch Ronnie Mauricio throw the ball from third base, who's got an absolute cannon for an arm, right? Like guys that go out there. I'm not saying he can't get the job done, but with Volpe here, you continue to deal with the mistakes that he makes, whether it be the fielding mistakes, the base running gaffes, the lack of, and he doesn't even make up for it that much offensively from Anthony Volpe. So what do you make of the Yankees here as we hit the break?
So Anthony Volpe is the biggest X factor because he's going to continue to be talked about because of all the things that he was claimed to be from day one, right? He was claimed to be the heir apparent to the great Yankee shortstops. Not since Jeter, you had a kid who, again, a hometown kid here in New Jersey who just looked the part, got a gold glove in his first year. Started out his second year batting tremendously in the first 2 months and then fell off a cliff. But what we're seeing right now is a guy who, like, Vientos is at bats in the first half before this last couple of weeks is Volpe's defense. There is something missing. There's something between the ears. It's not necessarily the skill set. It's not necessarily the arm. I think is adequate. I don't think it's anything that's going to hurt you. But it's when to throw and when not to throw and how to throw the ball. It's really footwork. It's timing. It's all these things. There's a clock in every shortstop's head that when the ball is hit to him, he knows how much time he has and who's running. Volpe tried to get Witt Jr. out yesterday on that ground ball up the middle that he had to do the spinorama with a man on second base. That's a situation that you pump fake. Everybody knows it's coming. Even the guy at third probably doesn't round even as aggressively because he knows that this ball's almost up the middle. You're not going to make this play. At best, you pump fake and keep it at a first and third situation. Instead, you go and you spinorama and you wind up letting the run score from second base with 2 outs. I get it, the aggressiveness that they want him to play with, and that's what he talks about all the time. But there's a self-awareness in there that's not in there. I should say there's a self-awareness that's not in there. Like he just believes he can make every play, and there's no one in the Yankee organization that says no, you can't. Like, let's keep it simple. Let's control what we can control and really be good at the things we're good at.
Is that arrogance or is that just being dumb?
At this point, again, the word he loves to use is aggressiveness. They tell me to be aggressive. Aggressive with no thought behind it. Do you know situational baseball?
Dumb.
It's situational baseball. It's Little League. It's literally, if the ball's hit to me, what am I going to do? If it's hit to my left, what am I going to do? If it's hit to my right, what am I going to do with a man on second base? Like, these things have to play out in your head. And when you, if you go and play the hits in your head, you think about the good plays that you make. I think in his head, there's a whole bunch of like real bad plays that he shouldn't have made that he's playing in his head. And he's saying, this next one, when I get it right, it'll erase all that. And it doesn't. It compounds it. It really compounds it at a level. And the one thing about his interview that drove me crazy, I was watching just before we came on, he used Boone's term. They asked him about improvements in the second half. It's all right there in front of us.
Yeah,
that's literally the first thing that came out of his mouth.
I know it's the same kind of platitudes that you get from Boone at times. I know it's.
I need a guy who is like, okay, here comes the All-Star break. Accountability. I need to be better. I'm gonna watch film of my footwork. I'm gonna watch film of my at-bats. I'm gonna figure something out. What happened to the chicken parm days? Remember the chicken parm days? Him and Austin Wells down in Double-A figured out his stance was wrong, and all of a sudden, bam! The second half, he was a hitting machine to right center field gap. Now it's like, and now it's literally, remember, like in the Little League. All right, just get past this guy. The next guy's an easy out. Here comes Volpe. He's going to hit into a double play for you. Great, tremendous speed, right? Tremendous speed, but he's going to hit into a double play. You just know it's going to happen. He's become that guy, and I don't know if he's ever dealt with that in his life. From his days at, where'd he go, Del Barton?
I think so.
Yeah, from his days in Del Barton, up the minor league system, batted over 330 in AAA level, gets to the big leagues, and it's just not that easy. It's just not that easy, and it's not as if there's any break in there where you're going to get a easy game because it's 3 phases of the game, and you have to play all 3 well, especially when you're that guy in the infield, that has a Gold Glove. Like, there's a lot of weight that comes with that sucker. And if you're not living up to it, everybody's going to let you know about it. So it was funny to watch him do his interview, and he's just kind of like, going with the cliche answers and very passive. And there was no like, man, I want to be better in the second half. No, I need to be better. I don't want to be better. I need to be better.
Welcome back to Figgie and the Moose on Pix 11 Plus. Make sure to check us out, Sports Nation Nightly, each and every night, 7 p.m. on Pix 11 on the old TV. Figgie tonight, Home Run Derby. I think it's a cool event. I think it's a fun event, celebration of the sport. Obviously you've got young stars in the league, whether it be, power hitters, whether it be, the big James Wood from the Washington Nationals at 6'7", O'Neal Cruz from the Pirates, obviously Cal Raleigh being a part of it as well. The Yankees will have a representative, Jazz Chisholm Jr. He's a long shot to win it. He also is, I think his stepdad is going to be throwing BP to him. Said he's not going to, he's not going to practice.
Not going to practice.
He's just going to go out there and do
Mr.
it.
70%. Mr. 70%.
But that's fine. I think he's there just to kind of enjoy the moment. And we get into these kind of things where, I think the All-Star game is what it is. It's the best of the four, but it's a celebration of the sport, and that's going to be tomorrow night down in Atlanta. Maybe Matt Olson gives the Braves faithful a little bit of a jolt. I'm sure Atlanta's disappointed about where they stand in the National League East standings hosting the All-Star game this year. But I think the Home Run Derby is fun. I really do. I think it's better than the slam dunk contest now. I think it's a fun event. Sometimes it drags on a little bit too long. I think they've done a nice job of cutting down on the length and making it a little bit snappier. So tonight should be fun.
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's a fun event. I think it's an event where you see more guys try to sign up for it to show off their power. If you go based on, and I think it doesn't necessarily have to be the home run leaders. There are guys that have home run swings or home run ability, especially in batting practice. Every one of these major leaguers can show off in batting practice and actually call their shots all over the ballpark. When you see these guys, this is a very different group of hitters that we're going to see. Like, you're talking about long, lanky, like these 6'6", 6'7" guys who are hitting the ball. O'Neal Cruz famously hits cruise missiles, right? 116 miles an hour plus. Like, it takes a lot to do that with the one swing. Can he repeat that swing over and over and over again in the 2.5 minutes that are allotted? So there's a method to the madness. You got to be able to kind of hold back a little bit and still be able to hit the ball out and have something in reserves to turn it on. You can't just go out there swinging recklessly. So a guy like Jazz Chisholm, I could see, because he's so quick with his wrists, putting balls up in the air. Now, it also comes down to the guy who's throwing you the ball. Like, I get it. It's fun. It's your stepdad, and you just want to do it for the experience. But listen, stepdad has never thrown in front of 52,000 people before. The stepdad has never had to pick up the pink T-Mobile balls and try to aim them right over the plate, So whether he has done it, in the backyard with Jazz since he was a kid, or whether he hasn't done it in quite some time, because it's not exactly like, as you get older and your kids get older, you're not exactly standing in there with them in the backyard trying to take a rocket off the forehead. Many a dad has found that problem. So I think it's going to be a fun event. I'm actually, if I had to pick a guy, I love Junior Caminero from Tampa Bay. He's a guy he's the one that hit the real big home run in the Winter Dominican League, threw the bat up in the air. The bat was in the air for like 14 seconds. I think he has one of those swings that he can just hit home runs all day long. And let's see if he can put it up. But there's some real good names in there. So this still has star studiedness to it as compared to the dunk contest and some of the other things that we see.
And I think that, the young power hitters kind of embrace it because you can establish yourself a little bit. You have a moment. There's really nothing else going on. You have like center stage. People are going to be watching it. If you're not a big baseball fan, you're watching the Home Run Derby because you're watching guys that are really, really talented hit the ball a country mile. I'll give you one. I'll take James Wood from the Nats.
Yeah, he's nasty.
24 home runs, 6'7", 234 pounds. You referenced, the modern, major league athlete and what they're looking at. Everyone's bigger, faster, stronger, all that kind of stuff. I'll take James Wood, who I think the top betting choice. I don't know. It's got to be Cal Raleigh, right?
It is Cal at plus 300.
Yeah. So Cal Raleigh and then O'Neal Cruz, Woods right there. I like your pick. He's a little bit of a longer shot. I think he's double-digit odds, correct?
Yeah, yes, he is. I think I go to like the Bobby Abreu days, where they don't normally have your name in the top home run hitters, but just give you a chance. And Bobby Abreu used to be so quiet and just sit back there. What did he hit? Like 51 home runs or something ridiculous. His bat like was shattering because it was just getting smashed in with a baseball. Also, juiced baseballs also help.
Right,
But
and it's a matter of like repeatable, how long the swing is, how tired you get, how exhausted you
Yeah.
get. So, hopefully we have a fun event tonight. I think you will. You're on Junior Caminero. I'm on James
Yep.
Wood, a little home run derby. We'll get into the All-Star game tomorrow on Tuesday's edition of Figgie and the Moose as well.
One thing before we go, the fact that they named Jacob Mizorowski after 5 games in the big leagues to the All-Star team over 2 pitchers from the Philadelphia Phillies who have pitched unbelievable for 18 games. That's bad.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's wonky. I don't disagree.
And they're saying, oh, if you're not going to pitch in the game, then we're not going to have you be an all-star. That's ridiculous, because how many years did you see, 7 Yankees go to the all-star game during those stretches? Did all of them pitch and play? No, it's ceremonial.
You could have named one of the Phillies and then named Mizorowski as a replacement. I mean, you could have done that. I mean, I don't. I think we get. I mean, we talk about the Soto aspect of it. Met fans should have voted. I mean, honestly.
No doubt.
I mean,
no doubt.
It's a guy that made you celebrate all throughout the holidays because he decided to come to Queens. Well, even though he was struggling to begin the year, you should have voted for him. I mean, you had an opportunity to impact it and vote for him, and you decided not to. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't complain. Like, I don't get into All-Star games. Did I vote this year? I didn't. Like, I really, to be honest with you, not that I don't care about the event. I think it's a celebration of the sport, but you hear people complaining about, well, then you should have went out there. The other day, and then you get into the replacements and how it's judged. I think what Nimmo had to say the other day, the All-Star game should be for the biggest stars of baseball. That's what you're trying to do. I mean, you've got center stage. You have the ability to go out there and promote your sport and build its popularity.
Yeah, and I get, listen, there's guys that what Fried did by bowing out. He knew he was going to pitch the last game of the first half. He wasn't going to be able to start it. It was down in Atlanta, and he immediately called Skubal and said, do you want to start this thing? And Skubal, of course, thinks it's a tremendous honor, and he's one of the young, bright talents in the game. And he said, yeah, hell yeah, I want to start this thing. And he's going up against Paul Skeens, who'll be starting his second straight All-Star game, for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And so you talk about star power, but I can't wrap my head around a kid who's pitched 5 games at the major league level, and you've got guys who have grinded. You've got guys that, and this might be the only year that they're an All-Star. A guy like Christopher Sanchez. And so just to have him there, not every starting pitcher is going to pitch in the game. We know that, right? You might pitch to one batter, but to tell him, hey, the only way you're going there is if you're able to pitch an inning, a full inning. And he says, you know what? I'd rather avoid injury. I just pitched, and I'm going to, wait for the second half. And the Phillies did the right thing by him because they gave him his all-star bonus of $50,000 if he made the all-star team. And I think that's the right thing to do in that situation. I'm glad to see a team have understanding, a little bit of feel. We always talk about the teams don't have feel anymore, and they're lacking that. But that just really strikes me wrong, that you put a kid just to put a kid. And he has a huge amount of time in his career to be on an all-star team and represent the team and everything else. This kid could have been in the futures game more so than he could have been in the major league game with only 5 starts. So it's a shame that they were able to bypass guys. And a guy like Soto being, trending in the right direction, 22 home runs. You look at the leaderboards in every category, he's on top of them.
So should be there, right? I don't disagree with you. I think he should be there. I don't. It's disappointing that he's not. I agree with your point about Christopher Sanchez. He's been great. Was brilliant yesterday against the San Diego Padres. He should be there, and good job by the Philadelphia Phillies. And it's a lesson for all professional teams out there. People really. I mean, you take care of people. It's amazing, kind of the way that they take care of you in the end when you reward great performances. So. I mean, and he's been brilliant. He should be an all-star. I agree. I think it's something that Rob Manfred of Major League Baseball should look at, and it's a great point by you. We'll get more into it a little bit tomorrow as well. Make sure to check us out 7 p.m. tonight, Sports Nation Nightly. Have yourself a wonderful Monday, everybody. For Nelson Figueroa, I'm Marc Malusis. This is Figgie and the Moose.